WNST, chat a little bit and talk about some other things that are not NFL related, although we will be talking plenty of NFL around here as we get ready for this kid Hundley in Green Bay next weekend. But we got a lot of basketball happening right now. This guy is either out on the links at Compass Point Golf down in Pasadena, or he is at a local gym near you somewhere between the Rack and Coppin State and Towson and Loyola and beyond. He is Robert Kennedy. He joins us once a week to talk some local college basketball. He is Buckets and Birds out on Twitter, and you can also find him down at Compass Point as well. What's going on, Robert? How's life? You're gearing up to get in the car and start to find these gyms and these parking lots all of a sudden, right?
Absolutely, Nestor. Yeah, matter of fact, just over the weekend, I sat down with all the schedules for the season, and put each of the local games on the calendar, and tried to plot out the schedule. And as I guess a good problem to have is many of them overlap on several days, so there'll be many days where I'll have a choice of 2 or 3 good games in the area that maybe make it out to and see. But yeah, it all gets underway later this week. On the 10th, they all start their season, so it's good stuff, and a lot of good games. Non-conference is always fun. You get the small schools playing the big schools in the money games, and get some local rivalries and everything. We're going to have a lot of that. The local teams playing, the Towson's playing the UMBCs, the Loyola's playing Navy, and Coppin State's playing UMBC and Towson, so all be good stuff.
Well, I mean, amongst the local schools getting together, that's one thing, but this stretch out, and, obviously we're the voice of Coppin State sports here, the home for Eagles basketball. You can learn more there at Coppin State Sports. We got Juan Dixon coming on here on a weekly basis, as well as we got the ladies' games on the air. I see them as the school that plays the most of those kind of games and has the hardest time trying to win them, quite frankly. But do you see any upset here anywhere for any of the local schools when they go away? Is there a team out there that's a big conference team that might be a little bit vulnerable to a Towson or a Coppin or a UMBC?
That's it's really a good question, and that's the $1 million question. I guess if we could all see these upsets coming, we would make a small fortune on it in Vegas and everything. But it's. There's not been one that jumps out at me.
Well, Towson doesn't play as many of them, right? I mean, Towson's playing like Pitt, right? I mean, like literally, they're not going on the same sort of path that Coppin's going on, right?
That's exactly, the point I was going to say. Coppin has the biggest chance because they play the most. I mean, they're playing the Oregons, the Cincinnatis, the Cleveland States,
Rutgers. I mean, maybe they beat Rutgers. Maybe. I don't know, right?
Yeah, no, it's entirely possible. With the new with Juan Dixon there, and they've got a bunch of new players. They don't bring a lot back as far as scoring and everything, but sometimes not bringing a lot back is a good thing. You get some new talent in there people aren't aware of, and everyone that wants to kind of establish their place on the team and find out who the go-to guy is. So yeah, a Rutgers is a possibility. Georgetown. With They were picked. It was funny. There was it's DMV based, but Washington NBC Sports Washington did a poll of all 29 teams in the greater Baltimore D.C. area.
There are 29 teams, huh? Wow.
29, yeah.
I don't think about it like that, but there's 10 around here, so why wouldn't there be 30, right?
Right, and that's stretching it down, to Charlottesville with Virginia and up to Newark for Delaware. We're kind of the borders, but Georgetown was picked they were pretty low in that, and Coppin was definitely picked near the 28. So I'm not saying Coppin's going to go in and beat Georgetown, but there's so much unknown there. You don't know. That's just, with you don't know what's going to happen in that. But, Towson was actually picked 5th or 6th in that poll. 6th, actually, they were picked ahead of Georgetown, and everything. So they were picked ahead of Old Dominion, who they play in their first game. So I wouldn't really call Towson beating Old Dominion an upset, even though Old Dominion moved on to a different conference with USA there. They used to play in the CAA together. So you're right. Towson doesn't have as many opportunities. They don't play any of the big schools. A couple of years ago they played Oregon, and they went and played Maryland last year, and they played Georgetown the year before. But this year, like I said, they got Pitt at Pitt, and that's you never know what could happen, but that would be their one big opportunity for it.
By the way, Loyola's got a couple of weird games, too. They go to Florida State. They play at Memphis Christmas week as well. The real Loyola, not the one in Chicago, not the one out in California. Also, Northwestern on the schedule as well. And really, this thing tips off this week, right? Like, Friday's a real big night, and a night of, if you love college basketball, it's bye weekend. You can really be flipping around and watching a lot of basketball this week.
You can, yeah, both locally and on TV. You know, there's a lot to be had. Maryland opens up at home. A lot of the teams we just mentioned, some of them will be going on the road to, play those money games. But Towson opens up at home, I think, on Monday. They do go away Friday night, but, they're back at home on Monday to get their home opener. So, there's definitely, with the college football that'll be going on over the weekend, there'll definitely be college hoops to be found, and definitely some good games to check out.
My boys over at the RAC, UMBC, headed to SMU on Friday and then to Arizona on Sunday. So they got a couple of big games here. Not so much after that. It kind of calms down, and they get more to like Towson and Delaware State, Coppin State, Maryland. But UMBC has about as local a schedule as you can have here coming up over the next month and a half.
Yeah, they do. That's I think the Battle for Atlantis tournament that they're playing part of out there with those two, and then they come back and play a couple teams that are on par with them. Chicago State, Shenandoah. I think they have Delaware State coming in, Coppin. So they definitely they have a chance to really set themselves up well going into the conference season. They were picked. As a favorite in that conference, and they're coming off a 20-win season, and
and a new arena, by the way, coming soon.
The new arena coming up this year. Yep, it's going to be spectacular. I look forward to seeing that. And that is really when I spoke to Ryan Odom a couple of weeks ago, he's really excited about having that, and both just to kind of build more excitement for the program coming off the 20 wins. They've got a really strong. They got the Player of the Year in their conference. Jared Lyles is preseason Player of the Year, and he's a graduate, fifth-year guard. Which at this level, guard play really is where it's all about. None of them really have the dominating 6'10", center guy, and UMBC is going to be built around their three senior guards this year. So I look for them to do really well during the non-conference season, and then to be ready to roll into the conference season in the NEC there, where they usually did really well last year.
It is fascinating in our town here, and we're, of course, the voice of Coppin State. By the way, I want to say we're talking to Robert Kennedy. He is Buckets and Birds out on Twitter. He's our friend down at Compass Point Golf, so plenty of golf going on, including a big Black Friday turkey shoot event we'll talk about on the golf course. But during the winter, he does basketball from local gym to local gym. You can find him at Buckets and Birds. This portion of our WNST programming also brought to you by Costas Inn. Good enough for the Today Show, good enough for my mom, good enough for my Dundalk High, and I'm wearing my shirt today, my Hall of Fame. First time I've worn my Hall of Fame shirt since I got it crab stained at Costas. Fat crabs, cold beer, the legend continues, and they ship them too. You can go to CostasInn.com to learn more about that, or we'll just see you down there for a crab cake and some crab soup. Had my first bowl of half cream, half regular crab soup. It was a little weird, but I kind of liked it. That's at Costas Inn. Also, a big shout out to Lee Tessier and his team at Keller Williams American Premier Realty. List your house with Lee Tessier and risk nothing. His team's going to get it sold for you. That's what they do. LeeTessier.com. If you're in Baltimore County, Harford County, make sure you're checking them out. Robert, I wanted to bring this point up too, because we don't talk about Morgan, and we're talking a lot about Coppin around here and their schedule. I thought Morgan still did the road thing and went out and played a bunch of games. They really don't. I mean, they're at Binghamton in South Florida, a little tournament this weekend, but moving around this weekend. But they don't play those games anymore. They're GW, Mount St. Mary's, Navy, Towson, George Mason. They really do keep it local at Morgan.
Yeah, you could say that, Todd has definitely learned maybe from experience there, and, wants to take it, see, there's just two ways to go to do that, as far as, scheduling and, as far as getting some early season wins, he feels prepares them better for the, conference season and everything, instead of going and getting beat up and everything. Now, they're a little bit different, because they have a football program where the others don't. So they do have the revenue coming in from the football team, versus the other local areas don't, other, than maybe Navy down there. So they're not quite as, forced to do that from a financial standpoint and everything. So they have the opportunity to play at home and get some wins and everything. So, but yeah, you're right. That's definitely a different approach that they take.
All right, well, then there's the Terps. And I know, you specialize in the smaller schools, but the Terps are the big interest around here. Stony Brook, UMES, Butler. Butler will be a big game coming up next week as well. That probably the biggest, and they got the Bucknell thing going on next weekend as well. Some thoughts about the Terps and where they are in all of this, because they sort of make the show go, right? I mean, I think for all of these schools, when Maryland does well, it sort of rises all the boats from my perspective as far as people paying attention to local college basketball.
Oh, sure. They're definitely the big dog in the yard around here. And, like I said, I do the local smaller schools are closer, to the media area than Maryland, even though they, are associated with being the state school and everything. We definitely pay attention to them. And I was down, as you were, at the Big Ten tournament last year, which was held in D.C., and it was, great atmosphere to see, the night that they played there. Just, unfortunate that they didn't play up to the level that they needed to get the win. But they bring back a really strong team. They've got their 3 freshmen from last year coming back that are sophomores. You hope that, you always hope that freshmen make that next jump up to the sophomore level, as far as getting a year stronger, getting a year of experience and everything. And with those 3, with Jackson and Cowan and Herder, are going to be the nucleus of the team this year. They brought in a couple good freshmen, and Fernando and for Marcel, who both played well in the exhibition game. So,
well, Morcell's exciting because he's a Baltimore kid, right? So, we've been following him already.
Yeah. So, he brings, that local tie. And they've got the graduate transfer from Duke, Obi, and who's going to, one of the areas they struggled in last year was being tough in the middle, and he definitely is going to bring that presence to them. So, it'll be, the Butler game, you mentioned that. That's going to be one of the early season games that comes up within the first week that, I'm definitely going to try to get into my schedule to work down to the Comcast Center to see that one. That'll be a good early season matchup.
Going to circle that one on the calendar. Tell you what, we got to circle Black Friday down at Compass Point Golf Course as well. Robert Kennedy is our guest, our local college basketball insider and golf pal. He's Buckets and Birds out on Twitter. What you got going on down in Pasadena later this month, Robert?
Yeah, Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, we're kind of wrapping up the season with what we call our turkey shoot. It's a 2-man tournament, so you find your best playing partner, sign up as a team. If you don't have a playing partner, you can sign up as an individual, and we'll put you with someone. And it's we go out, we play some golf, a 2-man team, and then everyone comes in for a nice, as if you didn't have enough turkey and everything the day before, we're going to have some more turkey and stuffing and all the fixings, and of course, even though it's late November, we'll still have some cold beer flowing all day long and everything.
Yeah, there's turkey, we got some stuffing, we got some cranberry, maybe on a sandwich, and some beer. That sounds perfect. That's a good way to spend a Friday. The football games will be on TV too.
Right, absolutely, and typically November weather. We've had some decent days this November so far, and it's not unheard of. A couple of years ago we had it. It was like a nice 68-degree sunny day. So, but that time of year you take your chances with the weather, and it's all about playing some golf, before the Christmas holidays get here, and eating some good food and having a good time. So, yeah, that's always a big event. If it doesn't sell out, it always comes close to selling out. So people can find out about it on our website, compasspointgolf.com. They can call the course or sign up online on the website. Either way, we'd love to have everyone out.
Or you can find Robert at Buckets and Birds out on Twitter as well, Compass Point Golf. And, of course, spending the days on the golf links down in Pasadena and the nights in a local basketball gym near you. We'll check in again next week. And, hey, next week we'll actually have results. So
how about that?
How about that? Somebody will be 1-0 and 0-1 and 0-2 and 2-0. So we'll have some fun with that. We'll see you next week, Robert. Great having you on as always.
All right, Nestor. Talk to you then.
All right, the best place to play golf this fall and winter, events-friendly folks, and, of course, the turkey shoot on Black Friday. You can go to compasspointgolf.com to learn more. I am Nestor. We are out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day. From anywhere in the world, on your mobile device, you can listen from anywhere now. A lot different than it was in 1998 when I bought WNST. We're 2 decades into this thing, and we go everywhere you go. Our morning newspaper also comes to your email inbox digitally at 7 a.m. each and every morning. That's powered up by Planet Fitness and planetfitness.com, where it's still $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.